Hey guys, it's Billy here, coming at you today with my favorite country albums of 2019. Let's get started. I want to start off with a couple honorable mentions here. I was watching Vinyl Rich's video, and he actually made me laugh out loud when I was watching it. He was all, and you guys that make these lists and nobody wants to put them in an order. These are in no particular order. I don't have a favorite. No, you got to put them in an order. I completely agree with that, Rich. So here's my top 10 list with a couple honorable mentions. Starting off with honorable mention number one, Aaron Lewis. This is The State I'm In. So this is Aaron's follow-up to the album that I just loved from 2016, Center. This one is not it's not Center, but it's still a decent album. Not good enough to make my top 10. May not even be good enough to crack the top 20, but I still wanted to throw it in there because I love it. I love the fact that Aaron is making country music, making a stand, and kind of singing about things that he believes in. Really, really good album. So check that out. I'm trying to think. Some of the great stuff on here are the ballads. The ballads are just awesome. The Bottom, which is I believe it's a song written by Charlie Robinson. Great tune. So that's honorable mention right there. Aaron Lewis, State I'm In. And then the second honorable mention I want to show here is Midland, Let It Roll. So I was turned on to these guys by a radio disc jockey friend of mine, and I can't stand bro country. You guys know that. I'm so glad to kind of see it sort of phasing itself out. I hope, fingers crossed, we'll see. It seems like it's working its way out, and I kind of pigeonhole these guys into that bro country, and they're certainly not that. Their sound is very reminiscent and throwback of '90s country. This album has a ton of great songs on it. I think it's 14 songs on here. Double LP on like a Coke bottle. Kind of an emerald green or Coke bottle crystal color, kind of cool. But the sound, getting back to the sound and the songs, very much reminiscent of that '90s country, kind of a Tim McGraw sound, Sammy Kershaw sound at times. Really, really enjoyable album. Great album from these guys. So that comes in as my second honorable mention. So jumping right into the top 10 here, let's start off with a comeback album of sorts. So number 10, Tanya Tucker. I get a lot of grief from in the comments section for not showing a lot of female artists in my videos. And it's not that I don't enjoy female artists. I have plenty of female artists in my collection. I just, for some reason, I find myself not really showing them. So I'm going to make a little bit of an effort to show some of the female artists that I enjoy a little bit more. And this is one of them. A great album from Tanya. I love her her early stuff, her 70s output. Her 80s stuff kind of fell off a little bit, but then her 90s stuff came back with a bang. She was very, very good. And this album, I think this is the first album she's made of new material in 6 or 8 years, maybe longer. But what a great album, and she's definitely at the top of her game vocally. The songs are perfect. Produced by Brandi Carlile. I believe some of the songs were even written by Brandi. Really, really strong effort by Tanya. This album is called While I'm Living. Great release from Tanya, coming in at number 10. Great picture on the back as well. I always love these type of portraits that you would see, like if you were in the Bluebird at Nashville or something like that. Really, really good stuff. So again, that was Tanya Tucker coming in at number 10. Then at number 9, this is one of those albums that caught me by surprise, and as much as I love this artist, I could not put it any higher on the list. This is Sturgill Simpson, Sound and Fury. Sorry if I'm congested, guys. It's one of those things that time of year going around, so my sinuses are just kicking. Anyway, Sturgill Simpson, number 9, Sound and Fury. It took me 3 or 4 listens to really get into this album and totally absorb it. The first time, I'm not going to lie, I was like, what is this? It's not country. It's far from country. But it's on my country list because Sturgill is, for all intents and purposes, a country artist. And this album was marketed as a country album. So it's landing on my top 10 list because it is a great album. Like I said, after that third or fourth listen, it was really, really good, and I enjoy it. I find myself enjoying it more and more with every spin. Coming in at number 9 on the 2019 favorite country albums of the year, Sturgill Simpson, Sound and Fury. Moving right along with number 8. This is an artist that I just recently got turned on to this year, as a matter of fact. I had heard some of his stuff streaming on some of my favorite artists' Spotify, Apple Music, playlists, things like that. And when I spent a little bit of time in, I believe I found this album when I was in Washington, picked it up, used, and so glad I did. This is Cody Johnson, Ain't Nothing to It. So Cody is, for those of you that are aware, Cody is a Texas artist, rodeo star turned country artist. So he's an authentic, the real deal. And he sings cowboy songs for people who love cowboy music. But it's real country music. It's not like cowpoke. It's good country music, authentic. Totally not bro country. I had somebody try and tell me that Cody was bro country, and there's absolutely no way Cody is bro country. There are some really great songs on here. At times, Cody reminds me of one of my favorite vocalists, Randy Houser, who just missed making the cut with his album Magnolia. Fantastic album, but just missed the top 10 with that one. But at times, Cody reminds me a little bit of Randy Houser. And there are some really, really great songs on here. Side 2, Nothing on You, Honky Tonk Mood, Monday Morning Merle, Y'all People. So that, if anything was going to be close to bro country, Y'all People would be it. But I love that song. Absolutely love it. And Where Cowboys Are King. Totally killer cowboy country song. Really good. If you love straightforward country, honky tonk music, Cody is the real deal. Really good stuff. That's coming in at number 8. Cody Johnson, Ain't Nothing to It. And then number 7, we're going to stick with the Cody theme here. Cody Jenks, another one of my favorite artists, The Wanting. This was put out on... Cody put out two albums back to back. He put out After the Fire and The Wanting 1 week after each other. They just followed each other up. After the Fire came out first, and then The Wanting was second. I'm going to consider them separate releases, separate albums. The Wanting, to me, is a much, much stronger album. The songs on it are a lot more deep and insightful. Really, really good songs. Songs like... Which One I Feed, The Raven and the Dove. Really, really good stuff. I love it. And honestly, if this had come out maybe a little bit earlier, I could possibly see this climbing up the ranks on my favorite albums of the year. But as it stands right now, it's at number 7, Cody Jenks, The Wanting. And at number 6, what country album end of the year list would be complete without a little bit of the king? That's right, George Strait, Honky Tonk Time Machine. This is George's newest album, and with George, he typically puts out a ton of albums. He cranks out albums with the best of them, and he has a lot of great radio singles, no doubt about it. Probably the number one artist, the artist that has the most number ones, hands down. I believe he's at around 60, approaching 60 if he hasn't passed 60 number ones. I haven't checked in a long time, but I know he passed Elvis and Conway Twitty and those guys, and they don't call him the king for nothing. He is the man. And this album is great. It's not a bunch of filler. It's a really, really great country album. You know, there's some good some good typical George Strait stuff on here, but then there's some stuff that'll really surprise you. His cover of Old Violin, Johnny Paycheck, and I think George is getting to that age and that point in his career where that song is really really strong and really powerful and meaningful for his fans and George himself. Really great album. I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. There were some really good songs on here. Not a bunch of filler like you are accustomed to getting with a George Strait album. Really good. That one came in at number 6. George Strait, Honky Tonk Time Machine. Moving along to number 5. Let's see. So this is one that took me a while to get into. I'm not gonna lie, because this is a guy that I have really labeled as a bro country artist, and I have a hard time. Put it this way: I had a hard time moving past that. But with that being said, with each successive album that he puts out, he's moving further and further away from that bro country and more into the traditional sound. And the artist I'm speaking of is Jon Pardi. And this is his newest release, Heartache Medication. So this comes in at number 5. A beautiful die-cut cover, as you can see there, with the gold foil, gold flake die-cut cover. When you remove the inner sleeve. This is, of course, the inner sleeve. Just a really beautiful packaging on this. But we're not here to talk about the packaging. We're here to talk about the music that our ears can hear, not that our eyes see. And the thing I will tell you, the thing I love about this music, this album, is the majority of the songs are country. They're kind of that throwback to the 90s sound. It's really, really good. Authentic drums, not hip-hop program drums. There's a steel guitar all over this thing, fiddle. It's really good, and the songs are country. Old Hat is great. I love it. It says something about giving the old hat the boot. I'm one of those guys that wear old hats and boots, but I'm not ready to give old hat the boot. Really, really cool play on words. Let's see what else. Heartache Medication, the title track is excellent. Ain't Always the Cowboys, kind of play on words where, the cowboy rides away, but he says, it ain't always the cowboy that rides away. It's really, really good. The one song that I don't really, there may be a couple. Tequila. Yeah, okay, so there's 2 songs on here that are skippers for me. One is Me and Jack, and I know that's a barroom favorite or a karaoke favorite. You hear that all the time. If you're hanging out in bars, I'm sure you guys hear it. It's one of those sing-along type songs, but it's just corny as hell to me. I don't really get it. So Me and Jack is a skipper, and Tequila Little Time. Basically, it's, again, a play on words. I want tequila little time with you. Whatever. The other songs, though, there are 14 songs on here. The other 12 are great, and they make up for it. A great song, a great album. So this is, I believe, the 3rd album from Jon Pardi. Really, really good. Coming in at number 5 on my list of 2019 favorite country albums of the year. Jon Pardi, Heartache Medication. At number 4, an unknown artist to most, an unknown artist to me for about half the year, Ian No, Between the Country. Ian is, I believe, another one of those Kentucky or Appalachian artists that we're hearing so much about here lately, with those guys like Tyler Childers and Sturgill Simpson, and, the list goes on and on and on. But Ian was one of those guys that I was turned on to by a friend through some YouTube videos, and just excellent, excellent stuff. Fell in love with the first song I ever heard was Irene, and it kind of reminded me of kind of a John Prine type song. Very very tongue in cheek, funny storytelling song, and it was great. So then I dug in and spun a few more and went ahead and ordered the album, and I'm so glad I did. I give this album, like I said, I rated this as my number 4 country, my 4 favorite country album of the year. At times, it's very much Bob Dylan esque, and then at other times, it's Jim Croce. It is very, very good. I highly recommend this album if you're into that stuff, and if you guys really like that singer, songwriter, storyteller type album, and you dig Dylan stuff or Croce stuff, give Ian No a chance. Check this out. Coming in at number 4, Ian No, Between the Country. Moving right along, number 3. This was another one that was fairly new, but great nonetheless. Miranda Lambert, Wild Card. This had some big, big shoes to fill with following up Miranda's, oh gosh, what was her last album? I'm drawing a blank here. Where Fallen Angels Fly? The Weight of These Wings. The Weight of These Wings. Duh. I'm losing it here. Getting old, as you can tell by the gray in the beard. But The Weight of These Wings, such a phenomenal, tremendous album. This one had huge shoes to fill, and it stood up to it perfectly. This is a throwback to Miranda's sassy, kind of tough girl vibe. You know, the chick that would kick your ass. She really delivers it on here. There's some great songs like that on there that would fit right in on some of her earlier albums. But then there's also songs like Tequila Does and Dark Bars. Dark Bars is the highlight of this album for me, hands down. What a phenomenal track. Just really, really enjoy this album. Can't wait to continually give this thing more and more spins. Miranda Lambert coming in at number 3 with Wild Card. Number 2, then another one that had huge shoes to fill, and I'm talking absolutely huge shoes to fill. This guy, you couldn't go anywhere in the country music scene, hell, even in the music world, without hearing about this guy last year and how he burst onto the scene. Had my favorite album of the year overall, and my favorite country album of the year last year. Luke Combs. What you see is what you get. So Luke had my number 1 album last year. This year, he could only get the number 2 spot. Sorry, Luke. You could only secure number 2. This album came out on December 6th. So that's telling you that I've lived with this album for less than a month. And it only took me 1 to 2 listens to realize that this album is probably better than his debut, which is an unbelievable feat, because that album just broke all the records. I think it was on the charts for 50 or 60 weeks or something like that. You know, number 1. It finally ended up getting toppled by I think Cody Jenks ended up finally knocking him out of the spot. But anyway, December 6th, this was released. Luke Combs, What You See Is What You Get. Let's not go any further before I mention how silly this cover is. I guess I get it. I don't know the backstory behind it, so maybe I shouldn't judge. But apparently, they commissioned some highfalutin artist to do this, and just looks like, I don't know. I think it's goofy. Give me just a standard picture of you on the cover, Luke. You know, we had the stained glass Luke Combs on the last one. Now we've got 4-year-old crayon drawing Luke on this one. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't take anything away from the music. Killer music. So many great songs on here. As a matter of fact, there's only one song on here that has fake drums or hip hop beats. I can't remember which one that is. Let me just look and see. Anyway, there's only really that song. And Angels Working Overtime is one that I don't really care too much for. And then Dear Today is a really, really good, well thought out idea, but I don't think it was really executed well. Other than that, you got 17 songs on here. There's bound to be a couple that you skip with 17 songs, and with 17 to only skip 2, that's not bad. The rest are killer, absolutely killer. And who knows, you may actually enjoy those other 2, but I love this album. Can't wait to let, like I said, this album just came out less than a month ago. Can't wait to soak this one in even more. But my number 2 country album of the year for 2019, Luke Combs. What you see is what you get. So that brings us to the top spot. The number 1 country album, in my opinion, of 2019 goes to none other than Tyler Childers' Country Squire. This album, again, talking about huge shoes to fill, Tyler had some humongous shoes to fill with this album, following up 2017's Purgatory. What a great, great album that was. I mean, he kind of splashed onto the scene kind of out of nowhere, and this one, usually that sophomore album, which I know there's a live album in between the 2, but we're still going to consider this his sophomore album, major label sophomore album. Usually, you know, they have that sophomore slump, and Luke Combs didn't have it, and certainly Tyler Childers does not have it. He came through with a bang, knocked it out of the park on this one. Songs like Country Squire, Bus Route, Creaker, Gemini, House Fire. You guys seen him play House Fire. He just burns up the stage when he plays that one. My particular favorite, my personal favorite, is Peace of Mind, a ballad on here. That one is hands down my favorite, but I really love all his ballads. And even the fast stuff. His stuff is so great. If you're into more of that Appalachian style, his voice is it takes a little bit to grow on some people. I love it from the word go, but some people it took a little bit to getting used to. It has kind of that honk, that screech, kind of bluegrassy, I guess, but absolutely phenomenal songs. The musicianship is great, and by the way, Sturgill Simpson produced this album. You can't go wrong. Pick it up if you see it out. And let's talk about that cover art. Great, great, great stuff. Number 1 country album of the year, in my opinion, Tyler Childers, Country Squire. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas, and wish you all the best in 2020. I've got more videos coming your way, so stay tuned and make sure, I want to thank you guys for subscribing, for commenting, not only on my videos, but on anybody's videos in the vinyl community. You guys are what makes this community such a great place and so much fun. So I cannot thank you enough. Guys, take care. Until next time, peace.